to make the best use of our own. Amen.
Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for the adopted corrected budget this evening.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the amended agenda this evening. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda this evening? Now is your time to talk. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda this evening? Okay, that portion of the meeting will be closed. Pardon? That was quick from last month. Okay, communications and petitions from the clerk.
You received a thank you letter from Colin Haas, thanking you for the scholarship. He was honored by the recognition. The scholarship you've awarded me will help aid in relieving my financial obligation as I attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison to pursue a degree in engineering. So he extends his thanks to the board. We have a notice of claim from Carol Marweedy Trust and Carol Marweedy for $569,000 for an economic remnant of land which is landlocked and inaccessible. And this is forwarded to the Personnel and Finance Committee. We've got a number of resolutions tonight, 4 on the same subject from Chippewa County, Forest, Outagamie, and Portage regarding the supporting creation of a nonpartisan procedure for the preparation of legislative and congressional redistricting plans. And then you have the others that are listed on your agenda, and they will all be forwarded to the Legislative Committee. And that is all.
Okay. Reports from committees, commissions, and boards. Anybody have anything they would like to report? Pardon? Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't going to be at the Legislative Committee, so along with Vice Chair Supervisor Finch, there will not be any Legislative Committee this month. And I'd also like to remind everyone about the fair coming up, the Winnebago County Fair, August 2nd through the 6th. So make sure and attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to report on attending the Wisconsin Counties Association Judicial and Public Safety Steering Committee Friday, July 14th in Madison. The principal takeaway was a presentation from Stephen Kopetsky, Programs Director at the Sand Ridge Secure Treatment Center. Chapter 980 of Wisconsin statutes provides for assessment of sexually violent persons as they complete their criminal sentences. Under this law, upon assessment, they are enabled to return to society or further held for medical treatment at Sandwich Secure Treatment Center. For more information, just ask me. Thank you.
Okay. Was there anybody else that, Supervisor Finch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to speak for the parks. They just had a Life Fest. It was fantastic. I went through as normal and talked to a lot of the people, and every one of them said how great Winnebago County parks are. They're very, very pleased about it, how well kept it is, the bathrooms, everything. You know, There wasn't one negative said about it. And the thing that really made me feel good was that one of the people from Life Fest made the statement to me, and his statement was simple as this: this is the best year that they've ever had for the Winnebago County people working. Actually, the summer help really, but they kept everything up so neat and clean. And he said this is the best year ever. So we have a good director and a good parks to keep them coming. Thank you.
Anybody else? Supervisor Farley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One comment and one question. Let me start with a question for Supervisor Egan. We used to get an invitation to, as a county board, to meet to kind of kick off the fair. I don't know, perhaps you recall that, Tom? Whatever happened to that? We don't do that no more, or?
Can I answer that? We used to do that up until 2 years ago, and corporate counsel, Mr. Bodnar, said we couldn't do that, that we're not supposed to be giving that out, because that's like a prize or something, and evidently no one on this county board is supposed to take any prizes from anyone, or an award or whatever, and so that $12 that we're giving you out was considered that, so that's why we had to cut it out.
What $12?
Well, that's what it cost you to get in, like if you wanted to, if you
Oh.
paid to get into the gate.
Oh, I see.
I kind of always thought that it would be just because the board themselves go ahead and, or the county puts in so much money every year
Yeah,
towards it,
yeah.
we just let them come in to look at the grounds, how it's going on, the kids themselves and our upcoming people, but
Well,
that was the word.
Certainly is missed, at least in my opinion. The other thing is a comment for the Solid Waste Committee. I received a complaint in regard to the TARP ordinance, and I reviewed it in depth. I would request maybe the Solid Waste Committee maybe could review that ordinance when they get time. There's some, I think maybe some issues with it, so that's just simply a request. Thank you.
There'll be things addressed on tomorrow's solid waste meeting about that.
Thank you.
And then about the fair, I've been asked by different people about going to the fair, so I was thinking maybe we'll send out a letter saying that we'll have a tour, and whoever wants to go, call us on a certain day, we'll pick a day, and then we'll have a tour of the fair, and that'll, if Bodnar doesn't put a kibosh on it.
What I actually said was, my understanding was you and your spouse or guest were granted free admission while the fair was going on.
No,
And you-
just for that opening.
No,
night.
let me finish.
Oh, sure.
That's the question I was asked, whether you can continue to do that, and the answer is no, unless, and I believe I told them, unless you were on the committee, that you were directly involved in supervising it, and the ticket, or the admission could only be granted to somebody on the fair board, not to the county board in general. This goes back to problems with EAA 30 years ago, where you folks almost ended up being the subject, or did end up being the subject of a John Doe investigation. So, my advice to you, Chuck, is, and anybody else, if they really want to go, and they're not on the committee, $12 isn't a whole lot. You can pay the admission to get in. But you could take a tour, you could have a tour beforehand, before it was opened. People could go out there, but it wouldn't be a general admission to the fair to let you walk around and take part in anything. You could do that, but you would have to post it as a county board meeting, and you'd have to allow anybody that's a member of the general public to come along with you.
I think the premise of the question that was posed to you is quite inaccurate.
Well, that is, I remember what was posed to me.
Yeah.
And that is what was posed to me. So, and I don't think you were there when it was posed.
No,
So
I'm
saying
suggesting
that's
it
what
wasn't valid.
That's what was posed.
We were asked to attend it from, I think it was like 5 o'clock till 6 or something like that, for that 1 hour or 2 hours perhaps. Not
For the-
during the entire fair, just that one evening.
At that time, you were asked to attend for the opening ceremony.
Yes, that's what it was. Thank you.
Does there anybody else have? Supervisor Norton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm surprised the chairman of the Parks Committee didn't include us. The Winnebago County Community Park is celebrating its 50th birthday of operating this year. And we're having a celebration, and I hope all can make it. It's going to be on Saturday, August 19th, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The main place is going to take place, we have a celebration at the Winnebago County Community Park Pavilion. There's going to be a number of activities all through the park, so those who have never been to the park, you go to the park and see what takes place in the park. We're also trying to include people we're going to have a special, you go to the county, the park section of the county website, they're going to have a special survey, special 50th birthday survey. And you answer a few simple questions, and then you print off a coupon, and you bring it along to the official birthday party on August 19th, and you may win a prize. I want to encourage all you supervisors to come there, because you say you don't know what takes place in the county park. This is the 50th anniversary of it. Mark this day down, Saturday, August 19th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything they would like to announce? That portion of the meeting will be closed. Approval of proceedings from June 20th, 2017 County Board meeting. Supervisor Roble.
Also move.
Been moved and seconded to approve the proceedings from June 20th. Are there any additions or corrections? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. County Executives Report.
Today, I'd like to call the attention of the county board to one resolution that I think is particularly important. It's 170-72017. It's regard to computer-aided dispatch. That's an absolute necessity with regard to the Sheriff's Department. And I do want to make sure the board understands that that was something that was coming regardless of what went on with Foxconn. We were either going to do that together as a group or separately. But as you know, the other counties dropped out of Foxconn, so it's essentially discontinued. But regardless, we would have had to do the computer-aided dispatch system. And that's the only item on the agenda that I wanted to draw special attention to. I also have some appointments tonight. I have an appointment to the Human Service Board, Michael Conley Kuhagen.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
I have a reappointment to the Winnebago County Housing Authority, Michael Norton.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And I have an appointment to a vacancy on the Affirmative Action Committee for Rachel Youngquist.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. I do.
Them aren't his.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome Supervisor Keller back. He's had kind of a tough road, so we're glad to see you here. I would like your approval to appoint the Supervisor District 2, Michael Brunn, from 800 Key Street, Menasha. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Michael, would you come up? Okay, would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Michael Braun,
I, Michael Braun,
having been appointed to the office of County Board,
have been appointed to the office of County Board
Supervisor District 2,
Supervisor District 2,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Wisconsin,
of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully
and will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I'll have you sign this. And then you sit right next to the two guys without hair. Right here. I showed you where to sit. And then I would like your approval to appoint Supervisor Steve Bender to the Land Conservation Committee. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. And I'd like to appoint them to the UW Extension and Agricultural Committee. Supervisor Bender. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. That one person that serves on the one has to serve on the other. That's why there's two people. Zoning reports and ordinance. Report number 1. Jason Itis, Town of Algoma. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Mr. Chairman, I move for report number 1.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. A mandatory ordinance number 70117, rezoning from A2 to R1 for tax parcel number 0020135. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for mandatory ordinance number 7117.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolutions and ordinances. Resolution number 166-7/2017, commendation for Deborah Pulver. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for resolution 166-7/2017. Commendation for Deborah Pulver. Debbie Pulver retired from Parkview Health Center on June 30th, 2017 after 27 years of dedicated service. Debbie started her career at Parkview working as a food service supervisor, advancing her way to the Director of Food and Nutrition Services position. Debbie served as the passionate leader of the department for 17 years. During her time at Parkview, Debbie has overseen the nutritional needs of countless residents and worked tirelessly to ensure optimal satisfaction with such an important part of the residents' day, their meals. We wish Debbie a well-deserved, relaxing, and adventurous retirement.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 167-7/2017, disallow claim of Joe Norris. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for resolution number 167-7/2017.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 168-7/2017, disallow claim of John Nevendorf. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for resolution number 168-7/2017.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 169-7/2017, authorize release of Winnebago County interest in recorded agreement between the City of Oshkosh and Paul Redmond. Supervisor Roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for the acceptance of resolution number 169-72017.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 170-72017, appropriate $2,252,250 to a capital project to upgrade the computer-aided dispatch. Supervisor Wingren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of Resolution 1707-2017.
It's been moved and seconded.
This is not a knee-jerk reaction, but a well-planned procedure to replace the much-needed, much-used computer-aided dispatch system. Last month, the sheriff gave us a good explanation of what it is and why we need it, so I hope that we will approve it tonight.
Okay, are there any questions? Anybody have any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 171-72017, authorize the Public Health Department to accept grant funds from 5 separate grant programs totaling $166,162 and appropriate the funds to the program expenses. Supervisor Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of Resolution 171-72017.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Anybody have any? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 172-72017, authorize the purchase of a new passenger car for the Public Health Department and appropriate $23,500 from the Public Health Department fund balance to pay for the vehicle. Supervisor Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of Resolution 172-72017. Just really quickly, the Health Department did a nice job of an analysis of the need for this second, this would be the second passenger car. The payback period would be approximately just a little over 4 years. This would defray the cost of mileage reimbursement. Thank you.
Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 173-72017, approve intergovernmental cooperation agreement creating the Winnebago County Waterways Committee. Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of Resolution 173-72017.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any other questions on it? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution Resolution 174-72017, amend section 12.4, parent 1, parent 113 of General Code of Winnebago County, retention schedule, County Clerk's Committee minutes. Supervisor Wingren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of Ordinance 174-72017.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any other questions on it?
I have a question.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Fari.
I guess the question is for Sue, how are these records kept? My assumption would be that if they're paper copies or something, you would want to have more space. But if
Correct.
they're electronically, that doesn't require a lot of space, so.
Right, we're just strictly talking about paper minutes. We've got 7, 8, maybe 9 filing cabinets full of them, and then various numbers of boxes of them. And some of them are back from the 50s and maybe even before, and they're starting to deteriorate. And they aren't anything that anybody ever really examines. And like mentioned in the ordinance, the State Historical Society does take possession of a lot of documents that they feel are worth holding on to. So we would do an inventory of all of these records, and they would come in and determine what they wanted to take, and then the rest, could be destroyed.
Follow-up question, if I might. In the last year or two, as clerk of the county, have you had a request for a copy of minutes that would be more than 7 years old?
We've got most minutes, probably if we go back 15 years, they're electronic or more even. I think we've got some on the system already from back in the 80s, late 80s. And so we don't get requests for anything much older than that. I can't tell you the last time we've had to go downstairs in the vault and actually pull a hard copy of minutes. Most people are interested in things that we've already got on the system electronically.
Okay. And what you're going to have, what you don't turn over to the Historical Society will be electronically available.
Well, what we don't turn over to the Historical Society, if we don't already have it electronically, that is an option. We can, I did have Supervisor Wingren would like to take a look at the documents before we get rid of them. And we are going to do an inventory. So we could make that inventory available. And if someone has some interest in minutes that the State Historical Society doesn't want, we could sure make those available or figure out a way to, scan them or image them and keep them electronically.
Thank you.
Supervisor Powers?
Well, that might have answered my question. I did send an email, but unfortunately, Sue, you were already away from the office for the week. Is there reason that we would not keep them? But that was the question I had asked, when the thing came to us by email. But are you saying that before you destroyed things like from the 50s or maybe even earlier, you would definitely scan them in, or just if you think that there's something pertinent in there?
If the State Historical Society doesn't want them, then we would scan them. But if the State Historical Society is taking them and retaining them, we would probably not do anything with them other than just turn them over to the state, because people still have access to them, but they'd have to go through the state. And they would most likely be at the Polk Library, because the Historical Society has a repository or depository there for local historical records. So that Joshua Ranger is the gentleman that we work with over there, and he takes a lot of the county board proceedings. We turn a lot of things over to the State Historical Society already, because we're not required to hold on to board proceedings for more than 10 years. So those we automatically turn over to them. So a lot of documents we don't keep any longer anyway. It's just for some reason minutes was made a permanent part of our ordinance. And like I said, a lot of counties don't keep them that long. They turn them over to the State Historical Society. So this would kind of be in keeping with what we do with other records already.
Okay. I guess I'm just concerned about the loss of historical records that may be important.
Right.
But you said that Supervisor Wingren's going to look at all the ones before we get rid of them?
He said he'd like to look at them before anything was done with them, correct?
Okay.
And I could make that available to anybody.
Okay, thank you.
He has a photographic memory.
He said you have a photographic memory.
Is there anybody else that has a question for the? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 175, 7/2017. Authorize acceptance of a quitclaim deed from Secura Insurance to Winnebago County. Construction of a roundabout. Supervisor Roble.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for the approval of Resolution 175, 7/2017.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or? Supervisor Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could somebody from the Highway Department explain the process here? I went to one of the Highway Department meetings way back when they first started talking about this, and it seems like there's kind of a...
The Highway Commissioner, that mic is on back there. You can.
Could you explain the logistics of this as far as who's building what, who's paying for this, and who's paying for that?
Sure. We have an agreement with the Village of Fox Crossing. They are paying 100% of the cost of the roundabout on County Highway CB at the Secura location.
In exchange for?
We committed that we would include widening of CB from Shady Lane to County Highway BB within the next 5 years.
At what cost?
I don't recall the exact number right now. I can get that for you.
It'd be kind of nice to know tonight, seeing as how we're,
I can give you a guess. I don't know exactly what it is.
if we know approximately how long it is and how much it's going to cost to rebuild, I suppose we need to build it out wider and kind of reconstruct the whole road. So is it kind of a trade-off between the cost of building the roundabout versus building the highway?
The roundabout, and I'm just going off of memory, I believe is approximately 1.5 million. The widening project is in the ballpark of 2 million, somewhere in that range.
And have we done, excuse me, any type of a study to determine if that stretch of road would need to be widened even with the increased amount of volume of traffic through that area?
There has not been a specific study to determine traffic volume, but with projected growth, it's anticipated that it will be needed along the whole corridor on CB, not just in that section.
And will Outagamie County also be widening their stretch north of the east-west county highway to the north of there?
I can't say whether they are or not. I don't know.
Okay, because that's kind of an important stretch of that corridor too, all the way to, College and then out to, Wisconsin, whatever county highway that's called out there. So it would be kind of nice on a project like this that is a fairly expensive project that we have a presentation before we dig into whether or not we're going to build potentially $2 million worth of widening a highway. So I'll be abstaining from voting on this because we don't have enough information tonight.
Is there anybody else? Supervisor Rule.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Because I have a son who is a vice president of Secure Insurance, I will be abstaining.
Right, you just let Dave know. Yeah, you did.
I was just looking, I thought from our highway meeting, I happened to have it in my folder, but I guess I don't, the cost, but. Supervisor Olson.
Thank you. Referring back to Supervisor Haig, is this something that you would recommend postponing until we get a presentation? Because I'm kind of on board with this in terms of if we're going to spend $2 million, we'd like to see the layout of it and how it's going to benefit Fox Crossing. And it's my understanding that Secure has requested this to allow the flow of traffic in and out of their building to be better, which I think is a good idea. But the $2 million concerns me. So you want to postpone that? I make a motion to postpone it. Second. Okay. Postpone it for 30 days and then until we see the presentation.
Supervisor Eisen on the postponement.
No.
Is there anybody else that has a question? Supervisor Finch.
Also, the understanding that, unless I'm wrong, the county's not sticking a dime into it, that Village of Fox Crossing and Secure was spending the money. So as far as I can see, if this is accurate, I mean, what we're doing right now is trying to build up commercial property for Winnebago County. But if we're going to start putting plus and minuses, there's not going to be a whole lot of businesses that are going to want to come to Winnebago County if we're going to start playing games. But unless I am wrong, but I was told that it's strictly Village of Fox Crossing and Secura is putting the money into it, not a dime from the county.
Well, excuse me, I thought that the highway commissioner just said that it's going to cost us $2 million to widen the road. Is that true?
In the future, yeah, within the next 5 years, we have it planned and it will be in our capital improvement plan to widen CB to 4 lanes from Shady Lane to County BB.
And is that part of this whole construction agreement with Secura?
Our agreement is with the Village of Fox Crossing,
Or
and that is
Fox
part of
Crossing.
the agreement, yes.
Okay. So
Supervisor,
if you would budget this, will you put it in the capital budget for next year?
Right, yes, it would be in the CIP, Capital Improvement Plan, for 2018, for the next 5 years.
And then can we wait to vote on it till it's in the budget?
Yes.
Supervisor Egan first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think that we should be able to wait on this because the Secure is ready to move in there. This is a big company that we want in. We are always looking for companies to come into Winnebago County. They're paying for the roundabout. There's going to be a roundabout there anyways. So what's going to happen if we have to widen the road and put a roundabout in there? And we're looking at $3-4 million. Here we got somebody that's ready to do that. I haven't been on that long, but that's all I've heard is that CB should be widened someday anyways. That's why it originally was built, was to be widened and be a main fork track. So I'm for this 100%, and there's some other talks of some other companies coming in. So if these companies want to pay for this and work with us, I think that we should be working with them. And it's not, we don't have to widen the road to put this in. It's going to be within 5 years, we said that we would go ahead and put it into our capital improvement. So it isn't that this will be built and we have to do it this year. So
Well, that wasn't my intention. My intention was to see a presentation of how this is all going to play out. I'm not against Secure building that roundabout, not in the least sense of the term. I think it's great that they're coming forward to build this and paying for it. But typically, when we have a construction project of this magnitude, we usually get a presentation before we vote on it. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Supervisor Bodnar, not Supervisor, Corporation Counsel.
I just wanted to remind people, if you look at these resolutions, they are not to build anything. All they're saying is the first one is to accept property from Secure Insurance. They're giving us this property. The second one is to accept a quitclaim deed and a temporary limited construction easement. So if this was built, there's an easement to do that. And the third one is the same as the first. The second one is from P&Q Menasha, which is a quarry up there. Is that right, Ray?
Right.
And the last one is from the Village of Fox Crossing. This isn't to authorize expenditure of any money necessarily. It's just to approve accepting the property that these three entities are giving us in each of these resolutions. Now, it is connected with this project, but this isn't authorizing expenditure of any money or anything of that. It's just they're going to give us this property, and we're accepting it.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I withdraw my resolution, my amendment then.
Okay. Is there anybody else that has any questions on it? Supervisor Keller first.
I had a question. I guess what John Bodnar just said there is what I was thinking about was this is just a quitclaim deed. This does not authorize any project. The project will be in the capital improvement plan, and we will get a presentation at that time. So with him removing his motion there now, are we back to this resolution?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that has? Supervisor Farley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I recall this during the discussion that the request is to expand a portion of CB to 4 lanes within the next 5 years. Now, that's not the whole road, but a portion of it. I think we all understand that if this commercial properties continue to come in, and we all know the Village of Fox Crossing is aggressively promoting more businesses to come into their community, it's going to be an obvious need to widen that road. So I think it is logical to assume that we would have to do that one way or the other in any case in the next 5 years or so. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Supervisor Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, it's nothing against Secure or anybody else. It just has to do with the way the sausage is made here. And it would be nice if we would have a presentation to describe the process of who's doing what and why we're doing something. This is the first domino tonight with the quitclaim deed here. So it's really just a matter of transparency in government and doing things the right way. doing things the way we would do it if our neighbors and friends and family were involved in Winnebago County. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else, one more, is there anybody else that has a question? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose?
Abstain.
And there's one abstention, and Supervisor Haig was a no. Who was the no over here? Supervisor Wingren, an abstention, and Supervisor Haig. Resolution 176/2017. Authorize acceptance of a quitclaim deed and a temporary limited construction easement from Menasha LLC to Winnebago County construction of a roundabout. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for the approval of Resolution 176/7207.
Second.
I missed, it was for the easement from P and Q. Okay, it was moved and seconded. Are there any other questions out here? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose?
No. Abstain.
One abstention and one no. Did you get the no?
Yes.
That is passed. Resolution 176/2017. Authorize acceptance of a quitclaim deed and temporary limited construction easement from Village of Fox Crossings to Winnebago County, construction of a roundabout. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for the approval of Resolution 177/2017.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? One no.
Abstain.
One abstention. That is carried. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move we adjourn until Tuesday, August 15th at 6 p.m.
We are adjourned.